Well, hello everybody. This is RPR Short Films 13, aka Ryan, and tonight I'm doing a live stream, a not too long of a live stream, but about a good hour and a half live stream. Um, so probably 6:35 to 8 8:05. Um, I'm just getting back into live streaming again. I started live streaming uh, last week, and it's been like months, so almost like a year I think, since I've live streamed. So just getting back into it, and want to talk to you guys, and have conversation and debate about films, and talk about movies, and you know that kind of stuff. um and keep you guys engaged. you know um Want to make sure that my YouTube channel is uh, um, enjoyable. Hey, Mario Mania 1234. I'm doing okay. Um, I got a haircut today, and this is for the movie The Double Servants. One of the characters I play in the movie. I've had to keep my hair like this for a long time, because it's been a long process of a film. Uh, and I also got the GTA trilogy, um, the definitive edition that came out. I've been playing it, uh, GTA 3, and it's really good. It's amazing to see a 20-year-old game look a lot better than it did. Um, I remember when that game came out, like it was the most talked about video game, and I remember being 8 when I first saw it. Um, uh, Around there, like because everybody played GTA 3 and Vice City more than San Andreas. I remember, and those were big hit games. And then San Andreas came out. I remember being able to play that when I was like 10, and it was so funny because I remember just laughing at the game. I just thought it was funny. I just thought it was hilarious. So they're very comedic games because there's a little over the top element to it. It feels like way too crazy for it to be real. Um, but uh, yeah, um, I know not everybody's a GTA fan, but it was a franchise that a video game franchise that I fell in love with very early on, and I really enjoyed the characters and the story, and the settings a lot. Like the fact that it wasn't called Miami, Florida, it was called Vice City. And instead of Los Angeles, Los Santos, Liberty City, instead of New York City, Liberty City. Um, and I always really enjoyed that. Now, what I have seen with the definitive edition, what's different now is driving is easier, than the old games. It's not like easier. Like this was kind of a brilliant remaster because it still nods to those original games. It doesn't completely redo them, completely rechange them. It just updates it, lighting, the sound. It definitely it sounds like a new game, and but it still has a nostalgia factor. You're If you fail a mission, the game asks you to repeat the mission if you want, instead of having to go all the way back to that part of the map to start over. Um, and also, GTA was the first, like to me, the first open world franchise, and the only open world franchise that got it right. My opinion, like there's a lot of open world games, but I feel like the GTA series hits all the right notes. They are the most believable open world, um, and there's just I don't know. It's exciting when you go into a GTA game, excited that it's open world. Instead of going into a video game series, right, that has been linear and then becomes open world. I just don't like what they've done with recent video games, turning everything into open world, spinning on linear games and saying, "Oh, these linear games are more for mobile, uh, games or for VR rather than console or PC." When um, uh, I miss a lot more linear games. Everything is so open world, and it's just not the same kind of. I don't know. I really enjoyed the PS2 era and the PS3 360 era of video games. Um, Good evening, Ryan. Hey, Zach. Um, Nice. I never really played GTA much, but I love their soundtracks. Yep, the soundtracks are always great. I was hearing some great music when I was playing GTA 3. A lot of classics that were replayed, and you just hear that on the radio, and you're like, oh my god. Now, if you have Game Pass, you can play San Andreas. You don't even have to buy it. You can just download and play it for free on Game Pass. So that's how I played Outriders. I don't know if you guys have heard of that game, but I played Outriders through Game Pass, which was really fun. But do they still have the Michael Jackson songs in Vice City? I have yet to start playing Vice City remaster. I'm playing GTA 3 right now, remaster. And here's the thing: I never beat GTA 3, and I never fully beat Vice City. So this gives me the opportunity now, these remasters, to finally beat these games, and it's going to be a lot easier because the aiming is better. Uh, the driving is better. There's so many vast improvements in these remasters, but it doesn't spit on those old games. It's just the perfect like balance, and yeah, I don't want to like go from game to game to game. I kind of want to spread it out. I have the experience with GTA 3, then go to Vice City, and then go to San Andreas. I honestly, San Andreas took me like 8 years to beat back in the day, so it probably, if I replayed it now, it wouldn't take as long because I've played it before, and also restarting missions is going to be a lot easier and all that. Um, Now the character in GTA 3, he cannot swim still uh, in the remaster, which is too bad, because that was something I really was hoping for, though, was that they would add that feature. Now they did in the Vice City remaster, I believe, with Tommy Vercetti. He's able to swim, and it didn't make sense in the old game either. The old Vice City game, that he couldn't swim. The setting is Miami, Florida, and he cannot swim. Like, I'm glad that they changed that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Uh, that's the reason I'm not looking forward to Halo Infinite as much as I would be, because of the open world aspect of it. Yeah, yeah. Halo. Now they got Halo to be open world. Ghost Recon's open world. There's way too much open world games, and we need more linear games. Um, you know, um, my opinion. I enjoy a lot of like smaller games that have like a story, and it's strategic. That's the best thing, is a strategic video game, where you have to really focus and be smart when you play. Um, and not to say open world games don't do that. Uh, it's just it can get really overwhelming, you know? And it and then you have to go from here to here in this gigantic map, and I don't know. But it works for some games. It's just I feel like, it's almost like an experiment that I think that, video game companies are trying to do with their games, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do love the, that Spider-Man games that have come out on the PS4. Those are great open world, um, and it's a rarity, yeah, for open world to work. But here's the thing, like, there was the original Spider-Man 2 game I remember playing growing up, and that was open world, you know? And, so I think playing a modern Spider-Man game, modern world, open world, was is much more enjoyable. Um, we want GTA 4 remastered. I wanna go travel in New York again. Yeah, I would love GTA 4 to be remastered. I actually was hoping that in 2018, we were gonna get a PS4, and Xbox One remaster of it, and that, they'd make it backwards compatible remaster for, the next gen with the PS5 and the Series X and S. Um, it was a little disappointing that Rockstar didn't do anything with GTA 4 for its 10-year, and maybe they didn't think the graphics, are that bad yet. I remember when I started playing GTA 3 in 2013, I already noticed a decrease in graphics in GTA 4, and so it would be nice to see that game cleaned up. It's a great game. It's really GTA 4 would be a really hard game to surpass because it's definitely one of the greatest games of all time, and it's got a great storyline and the music in that game, and yeah, if only they could just remaster it, and like Nico's character can like go underwater and stuff, and it would be cool to see a cleaned remastered of Liberty City. And Liberty City to me, it's in two GTA games, GTA 3 and GTA 4. Um, they represent the Northeast. So areas like New York City, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, um, any of like the gritty parts of those like cities out here in the Northeast, it like takes that. And you feel that when you play those games. And it's like, wow, how much they get accurate, like the tones of each game, it's so much like that's how that world is, like it's just so crazy. So it's like them saying on the Northeast, there's not a lot of like hope and there's a lot of darkness. Um, in Florida, Miami area, there's more opportunities, but it's still in a way more violent. And then Los Angeles, it's like, oh yeah, it's beautiful and you can do all of these things, but then uh, the crime there. Um, it just I don't know. You see these worlds a different way than any other video game. Um, but let's see, nice Halloween poster, and remember, stream Taylor's version at midnight tonight. Uh, anyways, I'll see you in a bit on PlayStation Network. LOL. All right, David. um, Zach said, I've become so used to some of the mechanics of GTA 5 that I think going back to previous games in the franchise would feel so foreign to me, like the boat cars of GTA 4. Haha. That's what's great about these remasters is they upgraded the aiming with the shooting. Like switching to your weapons is the same as GTA 5. Um, and the controls are a lot more GTA 5. It's not like heavily GTA 5, but I can tell there's influence elements that were taken. But like the good parts though, it just the driving's easier. It's easier to see the game. That's like it's brighter and yeah, I'm really surprised by like the aiming in the game. Like they definitely improved those things, but it's still those old games. So I'd say it's worth revisiting. because how cleaned up the games are now, and playing the story modes are a lot easier this time around, and start restarting missions. So I would recommend that. Anyway, I'm talking about. Oh, we're only 15 minutes in, so I didn't spend the whole live stream talking about Grand Theft Auto. But I mean, it's a big deal. Does San Andreas still have that sepia tint to it? Yes, I would be very mad if they took that away. Um, if you watch any of the new trailers for San Andreas Remaster, um, it's it's exactly like how I wish it would look. Like Rockstar did a really great job with this. And San Andreas is like my favorite video game. Really, one of my favorite video games. It's like in the top three favorite video games I've ever played. And it's not even the fact that it is a Grand Theft Auto game. It was just a really great game. I really enjoyed its story, and to me, it stands out more than any of the other GTA's. Even though I know a lot of people love Vice City, and I love Vice City as well, and that was kind of my introduction to Grand Theft Auto was Vice City stories. But there's something about San Andreas. It just that's lightning in a bottle. They're never going to make a GTA game that great again. You can never surpass San Andreas. Um, so how many of you guys have gotten like a PS5 or Xbox yet? The next gen. A lot of you guys still have like the PS4 or the Xbox One. You know, and okay, here's a good one. What do you guys think about dislikes are going to be gone on YouTube in what, a few months or something? That people can no longer that people can no longer see their dislikes of their videos. I think that's really bad. I think that's bad because how how are you really supposed to know if people how many people are not liking your content? It's necessarily the dislikes help because it lets you know how bad your video is, like people find it. Um and uh so if you only see like 5 dislikes over 30 dislikes, or you see 30 dislikes over 5 dislikes, you can see the difference. Now with dislikes being taken away, uh you're not ever going to know. And I don't know why they took the 5-star rating feature, you know away from YouTube. It just the 5-star rating system was the best. That was what was introduced to me when I first got on YouTube and joined YouTube. So I remember when November 1st, November 2nd came out. Uh, November 2nd got 4.5 stars out of 5. I remember from audience rating. That was cool. That was really cool. Yeah, you know, even if they did like um, rate a 2 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Um, even if they had that kind of number rating, would be cool. It's just the fact that there's only going to be a like button, no dislike button. I remember even when the like and dislike button first came out, YouTube, people on YouTube were requesting a love button, like to love the video over like the video, and YouTube didn't even add that. It's a disappointment. Um, I still mainly use my 360, but I do have the Xbox One. Yeah, the 360 was my favorite. I had I had my 360 for a long time, and then I gave it to my sister because she didn't have a DVD player. Um, so, um, but YouTube keeps on running itself into the ground. To be honest, remember the star system. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. The star rating. Um, I thought they were only taking away dislikes from being public, but you as a creator could still see them. Is that not what it is? It sounded like not even the creator will know what what the dislikes. Maybe I read it differently. Anything new with YouTube, I get a lot of anxiety because it's like, "Oh, all right, what now?" You know, what videos do I need to remove now because of this or that? Like, I just feel like more as time goes on, the more we're censored, and even when we're not really, you know, making any content that's really um, offensive or anything, it's almost like it's what YouTube wants, and it originally was the opposite. It was what YouTubers were able it was about the YouTubers, not what YouTube wanted. Um, anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. I've complained about it, you know, growing up, being on YouTube, and it just gets worse and worse, and I'm just kind of used to it by this point. Um, so what would you guys like to really talk about in the live stream? Is there a certain thing we like, certain topic you guys would like to talk about? Um, Mario Mania, David, Zach, are you all still there? Like, who's still in the live chat? So yeah, the dislike button will still be there and can be clicked, but there will be no number next to it for viewers to see. Oh, I don't know. People should be able to see, how a video is disliked. And I don't know. It's just my opinion. Come on, YouTube, just stop it already. Just stop it. Um, uh, Now I'll give you guys movie updates about The Devil Servants and Insane Cage of Madness Part 2. Um, I have started casting people, and it's like legit. Like, I've started casting people, and scripts have been um, uh, emailed to actors, um, and uh, I've been talking to um, crew, and of course, guys, this is all nonprofit. But I've been talking about where we're going to film these scenes for these movies, what locations, because the Devil's Servants is going to be set in a forest. I feel like I can talk a little bit more about it now because the filming is going to happen really, really soon. Like, I see it actually happening now. Um, and I know it's they might both movies might turn out a little different when I complete filming, due to how many actors we can get. Um, but The Double Servants is set like in a forest most of the movie, not the entire film, but it's gonna have a very um, uh, quiet, atmospheric, uh, dark, coldish kind of tone, um, with because it's set like in November, in that November close to December area. So it's like fall is ended, but it's not like quite winter yet. So it just has this, I don't know. It's gonna be really cool. And originally the movie was all set in a house. The original draft of the screenplay was all set in a house. and it was going to be like this party that was going to happen in the film, and that was the original plot. Um, but when the pandemic happened, I uh, realized I had to change a lot with the writing, because I'm like, gee, a movie where there's a party taking place and everybody's all next to each other, no masks, like there's no way I can do that. So during the pandemic, I wrote a new draft where if I had to film these scenes where actors had to be spaced out, that that then I would have a I had a script already prepared for that. Now, when things have gotten better since the pandemic last year, so I was able to rewrite things in the script to make it less restrictive in that sense. Characters are more able to be around each other, and we can have excuse me, I can have really good dialogue scenes, and characters don't have to wear masks the whole film, kind of thing. So um, I'm keeping that new draft, but it's changed a lot. Um, and because here's the thing, the first movie was set all like in a basement and a detective's office, and a house. This film is set in a forest. So I think that's what makes it cool. What makes it stand out is it's not the same kind of settings as the first movie, and I think that's what's going to make it feel fresh and not repetitive. I don't want that repetitive feeling like, oh, another sequel where it does the same movie all over again. It just literally does the same thing and doesn't try anything new. So um, I'm not gonna like give a lot away about the Devil Servants. The movie still doesn't come out till next October. So it's if I gave away the whole plot a year before, then you know, uh, I mean, if you guys want to hear more about the plot, let me know. I can definitely talk a little bit more about it. I just don't want to give a lot away. But I haven't talked about Devil Servants and Cage of Madness Part 2 really, and I feel like now I don't know, I just feel like talking about it more, like not spoiling anything, but maybe a little bit. Um uh Sounds awesome. I need to watch the first film again. It's been a while since I've seen it. Yep. Well, whenever you can get around to it, Devil Servants doesn't come out till October. So you got like 11 months to check it out. Um, and part two, well, believe it or not, guys, tomorrow is a year since Insane Cage of Madness Part One came out. Part One, and Cage of Madness originally was one movie, and I split it into two parts because of the pandemic. And so I shot new scenes when we were in quarantine, and I thought, okay, this in the storyline of insane movies, you're locked in a home, and you can't get out, and you're going crazy. Gee, that's going to be really difficult. Like, I it was almost like if it was unsettling to make that movie when the pandemic happened, because it was you could connect with it, identify with it in some way. So it was psychological, very much, because we were living in insane, at the time. We were living in something like those films, not of course like that, but there's some similarities. So, um, but yeah, that was a hard one to get out. I edited part one for quite a few months, um, and I noticed it's harder when I star in my films than when I don't star in them. It's just sometimes it doesn't work out. I can't get an actor to play this character, and I have to play that character. There's nothing. And also, I played Bradley already. I had to come back and play Bradley. Why would I recast myself if I can play the character again? You know, and Devil Servants, that's the case too, getting actors, so that's why I'll be in that movie. So it's not like, "Oh, I wanna be in all my movies." It's the case of when you're low budget, you are limited. Um, but okay, so where do I start with the plot for Devil Servants? Um, alright, it's a story about, 3 people that, worships, Satan, and, they are, hired by a Hollywood filmmaker. Um, this is pretty messed up. Um, they're hired by a Hollywood filmmaker to make a real life horror movie, and they're given cameras to record all the the kills, and they have a task for this filmmaker, and the filmmaker is a sick person. Like, it's written, these are not good people. Um, and of course, this is all fantasy. Like, this is all, of course, stuff that like um, it's all made up, and but it's intense because it takes it further than the first film. It's darker, it's more brutal, uh, and it's like, oh my god, these three people that aren't even rich, aren't even anything. They're just people, living in some, you know, city that, and they're hired by this Hollywood filmmaker to be famous, but not in a good way, for the wrong reasons, not for the right reasons. Um, and it's going to be really intense. Writing it was really intense, and then reading it was intense. And then a lot of people have read it or were like, "Wow, um, it's pretty intense." The dialogue's really heavy, um, and it's a lot of just like the devil unleashing, like on the world. Like, you have these people that are dedicated to the devil and this filmmaker, and like what the filmmaker wants them to do, and it's going to be I think pretty intense. Um, I don't want to give anything more away than that. But that's pretty much the basic of the plot. Is it's three Satanists that working for a Satanist filmmaker to make a real life horror movie. Um, so yeah, pretty intense. And then Insane Cage of Madness Part Two. That storyline picks up after Part One, where the character Bradley, he uh, abducts all his friends and puts them in his basement, and puts himself on a video, like a live video, and tells them they're going to be locked in this basement for 2 weeks, no food, no water, and it's a psychological torture film where it goes into friendship and the betrayal of friends and the betrayal of friendship, and that you really don't know your friends, and how easily you can be betrayed by someone. As I think all of us have been betrayed by someone in our lifetime. Um, I have. uh, um, yeah, if you know what betrayal feels like, it wasn't even that difficult to write, because I could identify with so much of the plot. Um, and you want to write stories, characters that you know it hits you, it affects you, and you feel something. Um, and it's going to be, I think, the most violent out of all the Insane movies, and it's going to be the most intense, the darkest, and it's conclusive. It's got a ending. It's got the most conclusive ending to any of the endings of the Insane movies. There's always like a cliffhanger, and this one has you could say that it kind of, leaves it open, in a way, so I could come back if I wanted, but it does wrap it up at the same time. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much all I'm really gonna say about the Insane Cage of Madness Part 2 and Devil Servants for right now. Is that let me know what you guys think about the synopsis of both of these shorts so far. You know, if it's like, hey, that doesn't really sound too good, or da da da, just let me know. Um, Very cool concept for the double servant. I'm pumped for it. Hopefully, it will translate well to screen. Thank you. I hope so too. Yeah, because it's. I mean, it's gonna be um, my most probably my most messed up movie, my most violent movie. Um, I can't say it's to be the most violent because the Minor versus Jason and Ghostface story, that body count is like 14 people in that movie. So I can't say it's. I'd say the most violent movie I've made is the Minor versus Jason and Ghostface story. But this is violent on a different level, and it's disturbing. It's on a disturbing. I'm not really holding back this movie. Both of these movies, they're both going to be my most darkest, heaviest, in your face films that I've made so far. Um, because I don't know. I usually hold back a little bit. I try to make these films tastefully done, but um, since it's like my movies are gonna be age restricted anyway, I'm like, I'll just might as well make it even more age restricted, the content. So, um, I'm gonna be pushing the envelope a bit with those 2 films. Um, they both sound pretty great, specifically Devil Servant, that sounds all kind of messed up, and I'm totally into it. Haha. Thanks, Zach. Um, uh, Sam Hannix? Hainix. Sorry if I cannot pronounce her name right. Both movies sound amazing. Thank you, thank you. Um, that's that's good to hear. Uh, so there's gonna be like an announcement trailer for both of these movies. Hopefully by the end of this year. Um, if not at the very beginning of next year, there'll be an announcement trailer, like a title trailer that shows some sort of little, thing. And then there'll be like a teaser trailer, for both movies and then a full length trailer. I don't want to make, like a bunch of trailers for these movies. And I noticed that trailers can ruin movies too. I think Halloween Kills would be an example. It didn't ruin it for me, but I know it did for a lot of people. I think that's really the main reason why a lot of people don't like Halloween Kills is because of the spoilers that were given away in the trailers. So, yes, it is very important to not show a lot in your trailers, and to because you when you go into these movies, you don't want to know what happens at all. That's the brilliance of horror films. Like if we all remember growing up and watching um horror movies, there we never saw a preview, of the movies. We would just watch them, you know. Um, so thank you, internet, for giving all these movies away and spoiling the endings online. And um, brutal RBR films are always exquisite. Thanks. Um, that was a fly. Um, oh, oh. I'm not good with insects. Oh man. Anyway. And I love that there's like behind the scenes videos of me throughout my movies where a bug went up to me and I like ran away. I got stung by bees all the time as a kid, and so I grew a phobia, fear for bees uh, growing up. So a lot of times when there's a fly in my room or something, I automatically think it's a bee and or a wasp or something. Um, so I know. Talk about what a reaction. That's probably the biggest reaction you've ever seen, guys, from anything from me. Is that because that was like real right there. Um, and my reactions are real. It's just that was you're gonna get even more real from me with that. But that was just I think that was I don't even know what that was. Probably a moth. I get a lot of moths in the fall. Um, Ryan versus the Fly. That does sound like actually that would be a funny title of a movie. Ryan versus the Fly. Um, LMAO. What a reaction! You guys are so funny. I've luckily never been stung by anything. You know, you're lucky because there are actually just people that I have known that have never been stung by anything, and I'm like, wow, you know, you're very lucky if you've never been stung because I would think it'd be easier to be stung by a bee as an adult uh, than as a kid. So if you get stung as a kid and you possibly develop an allergic reaction, it's there's a lot of anxiety with that as an adult. I don't know if I'm allergic to bees because I haven't been stung since I was a kid. But I was stung so many times growing up. I do fear that maybe I am allergic and I don't know. So there is that worry. Um, but that's just me freaking out about bees. Um, anyway, this isn't really a YouTube channel for astrology, but I'm gonna ask you guys your zodiac signs because I've never have done that before with the live stream, and I wanna know. And don't worry, my channel will not turn into a astrology channel. I'm just curious, your guys' zodiac sign. Um, Libra, cool. I'm a Virgo with a Taurus moon. So I'm a Virgo with Taurus moon. And my Mercury is in Libra. Aries. Okay. Quite a fire sign, Aries sign, I'll tell you. I haven't really had best experiences with Aries, sadly. Um hey, I think Amber is 100% Ghostface in Scream 5. This isn't funny, Amber. Would you like to play a game, Tara? Um, I think we're all gonna be guessing who the killer is until the movie comes out. I think we're really not gonna know until the movie comes out. I think we could guess who it could be, but we're not really gonna know, you know? It very well Ghostface could be one of the old, originals. Like, we have no idea what this movie is gonna be because 'cause they're doing what Wes Craven didn't do with the first 4 movies, even though they're still sticking to those, uh, those elements that keep with Scream. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, it kinda would be interesting if we got 1 killer again, because Scream 3, it was 1 killer. So I think it'd be interesting if it was 1 killer. I kinda want it to be 1 killer this time around, to be honest. I think it would be a lot scarier, um, if it was 1 person. Um I think another interesting idea would be that if there's 2 ghost faces, but they're not working together. Um, like there's one ghost face trying to do their own thing and then another ghost face trying to do their own thing. And and then there's like a ghost face versus ghost face fight at the end, kind of thing. A ghost face versus ghost face. That is original. That is something that they have never done. Um, Kinda like, "Hey, I beat you to it." Like villains, fighting villains, That's always something exciting to see is when villains fight villains. And we're always used to the heroes fighting the villain or villains in the Scream films. Imagine if it was the villains fighting the villains, and they added more layers to this franchise, showing there is more to it than the meta element. Um, I think I have my full natal chart saved somewhere. Okay. Irish Rising Films. What is your zodiac sign? Three killers would be cool. Yes, they would be cool. Um, they haven't done three killers yet, which actually would have been pretty cool in Scream 3 because the title 3, Scream 3, I think it would have been cool if it would have been three ghost faces. Um, I would have preferred that over the uh, twin brother. Not, wasn't no, wasn't even twin brother. It was half brother. Um, Pisces, cool, cool. Pisces are awesome. So we got some Libras in here tonight, Aries and Pisces. Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are Pisces. I haven't really got along with many Aries, and it's no disrespect to you, Zach. Like you're a cool guy. Like I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about just Aries and certain areas in general in my life. And then Libras, yes and no. It depends on the Libra. Um, because there's some really cool Libras, and then there's some like really like cold Libras. Um, so, and then that's what they say about the air signs is like they can be very cold. So, um, uh, what do you guys mainly want to see in Scream 5 when that comes out? Like what is the most anticipation? Like what would the movie have to do for you to not be disappointed? Like what has to be in Scream 5 for it to succeed, for it to be a good film, for you to walk out of it like, okay, that wasn't the best of the series because that you're never going to be the original movie, but that was close to the first film. Like what do they have to do for it to be in line with that original movie? And we don't run into another Scream 3, Scream 4 kind of situation. A good story, good motive, and hopefully I won't roll my eyes with the killer reveal. I know, that is the worst part, yeah, if, like, the killer reveal is lame, that's the worst part. Um, yeah, for sure. Um, very, very minor, but just a mention, any of the other killers besides just Billy and Stu. Yeah, I want to feel some major suspense. Yeah, suspense would be really great in a Scream film if they can make Ghostface scary. They kind of have to really amp it up because Scary Movie, the parody that film ruined Scream for a lot of people. Didn't ruin it for everybody, especially us Scream fans that love that franchise. That love the original movie that much. Um, but for many people this generation, they just can't get into um, uh, that original film because it's too much like Scary Movie, and that's why this new one has to be really dark and serious and intense and like not any of that, you know. Um, to where it would be really hard to parody the film, but of course, watch me make a fan made Scary Movie where it parodies all of Scream 5. Could you imagine, guys, if I did that? It's my first comedy. Oh, and I just, like, I do, like, a whole 10-minute, sequence of, like, the doors locking, unlocking, like, in the trailer, and it's, like, parodied, and like, oh my god. Imagine if Selena Gomez has a cameo where she's Jill from Stab 12. That would be cool. I wonder if they're keeping Selena Gomez uncredited. Like, they don't wanna reveal that she's in the movie because I don't know if you guys remember when they announced Scream 5 and the casting, Selena Gomez was in the cast list, and then she was taken off. So, um, I wonder what happened there, but I thought she was gonna be the opening, scene of the movie, and maybe she is, maybe she is the opening scene, and that's why they're not revealing, anything, that way we're shocked, we're like, "What, Selena Gomez? Opening scene? What's going on here?" You know? But I don't know, we'll see. LOL, you should do it just for the LOLs. Yeah, I mean, I've made 6 Scream fan films, so it would be, kind of funny if I made just like a comedy of them. Um, and I don't know if we're ever gonna get a Scary Movie 6, or anything like that, so I wonder if I did make a fan film called Scary Movie 6, think of the views it would get, and the responses. Like, I think people would go nuts, seeing that Scary Movie 6, a fan film, and you see like that old parody Ghostface mask, Scary Movie mask, but it's like a little different. I think Selena Gomez was just a fan rumor going around. Jenna Ortega is definitely the opening kill. Okay. Alright, who is the, girl that Sydney was talking to in the trailer where she's like, "I've been through this a lot?" Because for a second I was like, "Is that, Jenna Ortega?" But later in the movie with, like, more, like, different makeup or hair, or is that a different actress? Because because some actors look so similar to the previous so similar to another actor, and uh, yeah. Uh, okay, Melissa Barrera. So is she like a first time actress? Like, is this her introduction? Because I don't think I've seen her in anything. Um, uh, yeah. I mean, it looks like a good cast. It definitely looks like it's going to be more like a cast that's like the Scream show. Um, and I'm way more invested in that kind of those kind of characters than the way the characters were in Scream 4. Um, she has been in a few films recently. She's fairly new. Okay. I don't know any of the new members of the cast besides Jenna Ortega. Haha. Yeah, I think Dewey might die sadly. Yeah, you know what? I think they're throwing us off. I think they're gonna do something that's gonna shock us. And they might not, but my guess, one of my theories here, all right, because I think Sydney's gonna make it. Um, Gail, sorry, Dewey is going to be captured by Ghostface in that scene where he's fighting him, and uh, Ghostface is going to record him, and he's going to basically Sydney and Gail are forced to work together because of Dewey. Because Dewey isn't killed, he's just like held hostage somewhere, and they have to play all these games for him to survive. And then I think that Gale will be killed off by Ghostface, and it's because Courtney Cox has been wanting to be killed off since the second movie, and maybe it's like a sacrifice, for Dewey, or no, for Sydney. She takes her life for Sydney, and finally we see Sydney and Gale close like that. They always they weren't friends, in the beginning. They hated each other. So for Gail to like, sacrifice herself for Sydney, I think would be a really powerful moment. And then it's Sydney and Dewey at the end of the film, and it's like, what now? And it just completely shocks, everyone. Like, what? I thought Dewey was gonna die. And they might save Dewey's death for the opening kill of the next movie of Scream 6. and they might finally then do like the big celebrity, like the main actor, main character, kind of like Scream 3 or the first Scream kind of thing, where it's like the main character is like killed off, right? Right at the beginning of the film. I feel like that would be more original, um, and because it would shock people extremely. It's you would not see that coming, and I think that was it's the whole point of Scream is that, you're supposed to be surprised and not like, "Oh, I expected that. I knew that was gonna happen. That was predictable." So, hopefully they do something really surprising, and it's not just like some they gave it away in the trailer that Dewey's killed off in that scene. I'd be really mad if, he's killed off even if he's killed off in the movie, that's fine, but the fact that they show a little bit of it in the trailer, like, Dewey trying to fight Ghostface, it just I don't know, like, why show that in the trailer? Everybody's gonna think that Dewey's gonna get it there, He's in the wherever he's at looks like a high school. That could be the high school, Woodsboro High. That's probably where, that, is that's what it looks like. And, I don't know, maybe they did give something away that obvious in the trailer. Um, but I don't know. I hope they do something that really surprises us. Um, I really wouldn't be shocked if they brought back the abandoned idea for Scream 3 and have Stu be the killer. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Or like the mastermind behind the attacks. Yep. Another Scream 5 theory I had was Judy Hicks' son in the film is the killer, and he's Billy's son. Uh, and Billy had a kid with Judy back in high school, and before all the events in the first movie. And yeah, so it's almost like it wouldn't be Sydney's son or anything like that, but it would be Billy's offspring, And I think that would be really, really cool, because you would have it wouldn't be about family, but it would be at the same time. But it wouldn't be like Sydney's relative. It wouldn't be her brother. It wouldn't be her cousin. It would be her ex-boyfriend's son, that she didn't even know existed. Um, and you could say that I think would be interesting for the film too is that he's not getting revenge on Sydney. His focus is on a new generation of characters, and Sydney kind of gets in the way, kind of thing. I don't know. These are all different fan theories. This does not mean that I actually think that this will happen in the film. But there was that scene with Judy Hicks and Sydney in that scene in Scream 4 where Judy was like standing in the hallway in the dark, and she's like, "Oh, do you remember me? And we went to school together." You know, it almost like that scene could have been a part where she could have said, "I Billy was my boyfriend too. I dated him too." You know, I feel like that could have definitely been a moment because I don't know, like you do wonder because we don't know all of Billy's backstory, and Stu's backstory. It could even be um, Stu's kid. Maybe Stu, had a kid before he died, that we don't know. I feel like they could do something like that, and it might be, I don't know, that's kind of always like a hit or a miss, but, that kinda adds a little more emotional weight to the story, I think, than if it was just some random person. But it might be a good thing, though, if Ghostface is someone that it's not connected to anybody. Let's just say this Ghostface is a Mickey, right? Not related to anybody, completely doing this on his own, has his own motive, uh, you know, it'd be interesting if we got a ghost face like that again, where it was just a regular psychopath killer that really had no wasn't really trying to get revenge or anything on anyone. He just was just crazy. Um, but of course, add a little more layers to the plot. Um, let's see. Can you keep the stream? Yes, I will keep the live stream. If you guys did like this live stream, I'll definitely keep it. Um, I really wouldn't be shocked if they brought back the abandoned idea. No, I already read that. My bad. What if Melissa Burra is Billy's sister? Oh, well, hey, I feel like they're gonna do something surprising with this movie. I think they're really gonna shock us with something. And of course they're gonna with the trailers, they're gonna throw us off, you know. And they have to because what the director said about this movie is that, gee, we don't want to really make a movie trailer for this because it's gonna give away everything of Scream 5. They said that anything they show with Scream 5 for a trailer, it's gonna give anything away. So I feel like they probably shot footage for the trailer itself, which for a movie like Scream is a very smart idea. And also, what they could have done was also um, any deleted scenes that they're not using in the film are like scenes that were rewritten. Because I heard that they filmed what 10 different endings, different alternate endings of this movie. They might have enough footage that they can put in a trailer that will, we think it's going to be a certain way, but then it won't be. Um, we'll see. But um, Scream 5 is going to be the best sequel. I can feel it. Hey, the best sequel to me is Scream 2. My opinion. Kevin Williamson wrote that script. Wes Craven directed that movie. That movie hit all the right notes, my opinion. It had the best acting of the whole series. I think it had the best plot. I like the college setting. I enjoyed the killer reveals. I thought it was. Uh, I think it's an incredible movie. I think it's definitely one of the greatest sequels to a film. So it's going to be hard for Scream 5 to surpass Scream 2. Definitely. It already looks a million times better than Scream 3 and Scream 4, and they've barely shown anything of this movie, you know. And I didn't hate Scream 4. I'm not like trying to bash on Scream 4 here. I watched that movie all the time when that movie came out, and I got the Blu-ray, I got it on digital. I still watch that movie, but it's definitely not my favorite of the series. Um, Scream 2 has one of the worst scenes in the franchise, LOL. Yeah, yeah, I know. I can get through it though. I can sit through that scene. Like it's not my favorite by any means, and it was very unnecessary. Um, but um, I think it was. I think I oddly I did enjoy that scene because Sydney was having it really rough. Her life. She lost her mom. Her boyfriend was a psychotic killer that tried to kill her. She lost her friends. And then she finally starts over with her life at this college. She gets with this guy that, is not Billy. He's like the guy that, you take home, he was the good guy. He was the guy that was you could tell that she would have married him, Derek. So that scene where he like dances for her and all that, like it shows how much he loved her and like cared about her. Like Billy would have never done anything goofy or anything corny like that because he didn't love her, you know? And so you really feel for Sydney at the very end of that film when Derek dies. Like, that she'll never be the same and she's not going to have a love life for a long time. It took Sydney to heal from that. It took her a good 20 years or a little over 20 years because now she has a baby. But look how long that took for her to start over in, her love life. And maybe it took that many years of therapy, healing, that book that she wrote. She obviously it had to have been when she was ready, And I'm glad they're going to go into Sydney's love story, like her relationship life, and that she has a kid. I wonder now because she has a kid, if we're gonna get a No Time to Die kind of ending, with the Scream movie. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a little bit more is possible now because Sydney has a kid, you know? Like, it opens the doors for, like, sequels in the next, 15 years where the focus will be Sydney's kid, you know? I mean, and we don't know what's gonna happen with this film, but usually when a major character has a kid after a few sequels, that's kind of passing the torch on, and it doesn't always work out for every movie franchise. That thing they've tried it before, but I could see it working for Scream. Um, but yeah, I almost didn't know if Sydney was ever gonna find love again, or necessarily that she wanted to find love again and to, have a family and raise a family. She went through so much, but they're showing that these characters have changed, and that what they've been through has changed them, and that's growth. That's character development. Um, and I'm excited to see where all these characters are at, 10 years after Scream 4, which, oh my God, can you guys believe the story takes place 10 years after Scream 4? You know? I mean, that's nuts. Um, but Scream 3 is my favorite sequel. Scream 3 is getting a lot of love from people. I've been hearing a lot more in the past couple years that people like Scream 3 more than Scream 2. Um, and that's wild to me. Now, of course, that's your own opinion. I'm not going to disrespect you. I know a lot of people that love that movie, and I don't like judge them for loving that film. I just will never understand why anybody uh, could love that film. Um, but uh, there are great moments in that movie, I will not lie. That Carrie Fisher scene is probably my favorite scene of the whole series. Even though Scream 3 is my least favorite Scream film, that's probably my favorite scene of the whole franchise, is that scene with Carrie Fisher. Agree or disagree with me, go ahead. That was an incredible scene because, oh my god, that was great. That was great. I could watch that scene any day. That scene is just, if I would have preferred if Scream 3 just would have been about Carrie Fisher's character than the movie itself, to be honest. Um, I remember you talking about Scream 5 since 2011. Yes, I have been talking about Scream 5 ever since 2011 because I wanted to see Scream 5 right when I got out of the theater of Scream 4. I was processing Scream 4 when I first saw it, but about a week or 2 weeks after the release of that movie, I was already down for a Scream 5, and the anticipation was absolutely insane. So when they announced that they were making a Scream show over a Scream, 5, I got really mad. If you go back to, like, there's a video of me in, like, 2012, where I was 16, where I'm, like, getting so angry about, uh, Scream being turned into a TV series. And I remember everything I said about the show in that video, my prediction, it all, like, happened. Uh, and oddly, I ended up loving that show, when it came out on MTV. But I had no hopes for it. And, after season 3 came out, I said, "Okay, either you do a season 4 or you make a Scream 5." And you do that. You don't reboot the franchise. That'd be the worst thing they could do. So them going back to the movies and giving us a Scream 5, they're finally, answering fans' prayers, like what we want. We've been wanting forever. And but I guess this is like how it feels very similar to that wait between Scream 3 and 4, but I was too young when Scream 3 came out though, so I can't necessarily identify with seeing that in the theater and then waiting 10 years for Scream 4. So, but I can identify with seeing Scream 4 in the theater and waiting 10 years for this one. Uh, Uh, Irish Rising Films, you just said Scream 3 is your favorite sequel, and now you just said it was horrible. Scream 3 exposed the Hollywood business before the times. I hated Emma from that show. Um, Wait, so do you it's your favorite of the series, but you find it horrible, though? Oh, sorry, you're saying season 3, not Scream 3. Sorry, season 3. Um, Season 3 was awesome when it came to Ghostface being back, like the old mask, the old robe, you know, the cloak look. Him and Tony Todd, Ghostface and Candyman, versing each other was really cool. The music was really good in season 3. Roger Jackson's voice work was great in season 3, and the kills were really good. The story was the weakest part of the show, and the acting was so bad. Like, it's probably some of the worst acting I've seen on a horror show ever, and it's such a shame because the first 2 seasons of the Scream show had great acting, um, from people. There were like Brooke, the character, Carlson Young, she did an incredible job in that show, and in fact, her character really grew on me, Brooke's character. She's, uh she's identifiable, um, and, I don't know, I connected a lot with her story, and, I don't know, it was easier for me to relate to her more so than Sydney, and I'm not gonna really go into it, but, um, they really created characters on that Scream show that you could identify with or connect with in the first 2 seasons, and with season 3, they didn't really focus on that as much. It felt very forced, rushed writing, and it didn't feel like this they took their time as much as the first 2 seasons. So, that was um, the problem with the 3rd season. Um, Noah and Audrey, yes, they were great characters, and I would love to see them, in a new season. I would love to see a new show, uh, a new season of the show with those characters. I absolutely would love that. Um, the only reason why I like 3, Scream 3, because where Ghostface can use people different voices. Okay. Uh, that is my least favorite part of Scream 3, actually, is the voice changer. I think that was the worst part of that movie, and that invention still doesn't exist to this day. And it 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 just I thought it was ridiculous when I first saw it, and I think it's ridiculous now. But that's your opinion. But yeah, that's definitely like one of the worst parts of the franchise. My opinion was that voice changer. It made sense with the first 2 movies, the voice changer, and Scream 4, and any of the other Scream, anything, because it was just a voice changer. It was just like a one voice, like you're supposed to sound like, your voice supposed to sound darker and scarier kind of voice changer, but that was more believable than this voice changer that can change into anybody's voice. It just and it's quite a scary invention too. When I watched it growing up, I said, "I hope this never ever exists," because if an invention like that ever existed, our world would be it would get so bad. Like, that would be one of the worst things that happened to our planet is of that voice changer. So, uh, and yeah, it was too much for that. It was a simple game, Cotton. You should have told me where Sydney was. Now you lose. Man. Um, I did like that Scream 3 did go into, like, the corruption of Hollywood. That was interesting, though, I will agree about that, what you're saying, Irish Rising films. Not many, films go into the corruption of the industry, and, that Scream 3 did, and that was the first movie I ever saw that ever went there, that went into the horrors of Hollywood, and it was no longer a movie that was promoting, like, "Oh, it's a place of happiness and dreams, and you get what you want." It goes into the reality of Hollywood. So I did like that. I like Kincaid's character as well. Patrick Dempsey, he was great. Um, it could have been a way better movie. Um, so uh, yeah, the trailers for Scream 3 were always my favorite. Those are really great trailers. I remember watching those on the DVD box set. Um, but yeah, I think 3 could have been a much better film. Um, and that's just my opinion. But yeah, and they just, by the way, MTV show will be back, and they're making a season 4, and it'll be a continuation of the first 2 seasons of those characters. So they're gonna follow the Brandon James storyline and not the season 3 storyline, which I think is really smart. Um, uh, you should do what you should do. What you should do, Ryan, is when you're making your movie, go live while making your movie. That's only if I can. When you're low budget and you don't got like 1,000 people on set, I'm not making any promises. Well, I mean, with the AI, we're getting there. Like Luke's voice in season 2 of Mando was completely AI generated. Uh, yeah, isn't this stuff kind of scary though? You know, that these things are being invented because they could be used for bad. You know, like, this is some scary stuff, you know? And they always, remember movies, decades ago, "Don't mess with AI, don't mess with AI technology." Then you had, like, Avengers: Age of Ultron, like, that stuff freaks me out, that whole artificial intelligence stuff, that stuff freaks me out, really does. Um, Sydney is a mom in Scream 5. Yes, she is. Hey, Sydney gave herself a lot of time to heal from Derek, which was that storyline took place in 1997, right? So by the time now she's had a kid, it's been 25 years since Scream 2. So that's 25 years of being single, or not, of course, fully 25 years of being single, but not being married, not having a kid, that's a long time, you know. So hopefully Kincaid's the dad. Oh my god. So you're telling me they're gonna write it where, like, Sydney, like, put her kid in. No, no, 'cause she's in a cradle. She's in a cradle. Oh, but no, right, you're right, Kincaid did not die, though. He didn't die in Scream 3, so it could be Kincaid. But then, like, would Patrick Dempsey come back, you know? Uh, I almost rather see her with a new, guy, like, a new character, uh, rather than, um, going back to that. I don't know if Patrick Dempsey would come back, I mean, that would be cool, but, that don't know if that would happen. Um, is the Friday 13th Blu-ray set pretty nice? I'm thinking of getting that for Christmas. I already own the DVDs. Yes, actually, the, Friday 13th Blu-ray new box set that came out is really, really awesome. It comes with a lot new bonus features, like interviews, a lot of good interviews. The first 4 movies they're not presented in 4K UHD, HDR, but they're 4K transfers, and they look the best they have ever looked. Um, the 3rd movie needs a remaster. my opinion, though. The third Friday 13th film needs a remaster. It is so dirty. The lens, you can see so much dirt on those lens in that movie. It's like not even funny. Like the movie does not age well when it comes to like the dirt on the lens and stuff. Like I wish they would digitally remove it or something, like like it probably costs a lot of money for them to restore Friday 13 Part 3, but I think it's necessary, to be honest. Um, and it's definitely a film to watch in 3D over 2D. But even though it gives you the option to watch it in 3D, real D 3D, no longer just the red and blue glasses. Um, if you don't have a real D 3D TV, which most people don't, you're not going to be able to watch it in real D 3D, which is really too bad. So what I'll do is like I'll put in the previous Blu-ray of the movie, and I'll wear the red and blue glasses when watching it because it's like I want to watch this in 3D. And it is a lot of fun in 3D. It's just that's why I really want to get to that event that they've had in Philly twice in a row, where it's the Part 3 3D re-release, and it's the old projection of the movie, and it's presented in that old 3D. Those old glasses that weren't red and blue; they were like that gray silver. I would love to experience that. Even I don't like the sixth Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I still would love to see that in 3D. I would love to see those old classic horror films that were presented in 3D then, and we could see that 3D, today, how people saw it back then. Because I'm sure it wasn't bad, because it wasn't the red and blue glasses, you know. So that would be cool. But the box set is really awesome. It comes with a bunch of new things and new features and all that. Not every Friday film in the box set was given a uh, new transfer. But Jason Goes to Hell, finally, the unrated cut has been. They gave it a 2K transfer. I don't like that movie, but there's a new transfer of that film on the box set, and that's about it. So there's not really um, anything else new but that, but it's definitely there's a lot more to this new box set that came out than the one that came out in 2013, the one that I got back in 2013. Um, but yeah, I'd recommend it for sure. Um, I just can't wait till they come out with a 4K HDR box set. Scream Factory will come out with that, or a Halloween box set that all of them are in 4K HDR. To see Halloween H2O in 4K, and you know um, the remakes in 4K, and just I guess I don't know, Curse of Michael Myers, to see that in 4K just would be pretty interesting. Um, because Halloween H2O, the quality of that movie isn't holding up too well either. So I think H2O needs a new transfer, like a major new HD transfer, 4K HDR transfer for sure. Out of pretty much out of any of the Halloween films, Halloween 4 and H2O needed the most cleaned up out of any of the Halloween films, in terms of the camera quality. Uh, um, yes, do get it. The picture quality is so much better than the DVDs. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Way better than the DVDs for sure. Nice. I'll have to pick that up. I loved the Halloween Scream Factory set, so I'm sure I'll like this. Um, it wasn't. I'd say the Halloween Shout Factory set was better. It had a lot more to it. But this is still a really nice box set. It's got really cool cover art, great artwork on the box set, and a bunch of things. But I do think the Halloween Blu-ray from Scream Factory was better, my opinion, because it was the first time we ever got every single Halloween film in a box set. You know, because any previous box sets with Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday 13th, you would get every single movie. Now with the Halloween films, it wasn't until that Blu-ray box set in 2013 from Screen Factory where you were able to literally own every single movie in one collection with the producer's cut of Halloween 6 and the remakes. It came with the director's cuts. It came with the TV cut of Halloween 2. It came with the TV cut of the original Halloween. The only thing that it didn't have, of course, was the Doctor, death character from Halloween 5, that alternate opening, you know. Um, but overall, it's a satisfying box set. They have new interviews of like all the actors from the Halloween films. It's definitely worth picking up. I'd say more than the Friday 13th one. Um, what I love is if Ghostface is revealed mid-film. That would be cool because that's something we have never seen, and that kind of would give time for the storyline to develop, to flesh out the killer more, like, without the mask and, like, their motive and reason and all that. I think it would, yeah, it would make it a little more original because I always wondered with a Scream film, where they gotta reveal the killer halfway through the film, or maybe, like, even at the very beginning of the movie, where the audience knows who we all know who Ghostface is throughout the whole film, but the characters don't, and that suspense factor. They're gonna do that eventually, but, I'm not sure this movie. Um, H2O just isn't that great all around. Um, I personally really enjoy H2O. I don't think it's the best Halloween film, but, I still think it's got the best ending of all the Halloween movies. Yeah, because, I mean, that Laurie cuts his head off, and that's it, that was a great ending. Um, uh, let's see. Jason versus Ghostface. Yes, Jason versus Ghostface would be cool. Um, wait, just check out my fan film then on YouTube. I've made a Ghostface versus Jason already. Um, a plus for picking up Halloween 5 4K is they put the Doctor Death stuff on the bonus features. Now, fingers crossed, we get a Scream Factory box set for the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Yes, we do need that. HDR, that whole Nightmare on Elm Street box set, imagine 4K, new interviews. Oh my God, I would go crazy with that box set. That would be amazing, I think Robert Englund did say the other a couple weeks ago, I think in an interview or something, that he's done with Freddy. Like it'll never happen. Like it's over. Like that's it. Um, so I guess Freddy versus Jason was Robert Englund's last nightmare movie, and that's where it'll end with that character. And it's really too bad, you know. I feel like Robert Englund could have played him, even though he got older. He wears all this prosthetic makeup and stuff. Like makeup effects. Like I didn't realize it was such. Um, and of course he could have a stunt double and all that. It's just I don't know. Maybe Robert Englund demands too much money. I don't know what it is, but he's a legend. He's, you know, the face icon of horror, like the number one signature icon of horror is Freddy Krueger. And you know, I don't think they'll ever find an actor that'll ever live up to Robert Englund. And I don't know if the audience will be able to get into a new nightmare film without Robert Englund. Maybe it's too soon, you know. And I think they have to get an actor that could literally they know copy and paste how to play the character. Like they talk to Robert Englund. Robert Englund teaches the actor how to do, the movements and the laugh and all that, and basically where Robert Englund's like a coach, to a new actor to play him. I think that would be cool if like Robert Englund kind of passes the torch instead of the studio just kind of hiring someone random. Um, honestly, where are you gonna go from here, you know? So, but it is too bad. I would love to see a new Nightmare movie with Robert Englund, Heather Langenkamp, and for them to do something like New Nightmare, or Dream Warriors, it'd be great to get another one of those movies, But we don't know what goes on with the studio and all that. So, um, I would like to make a Nightmare on Elm Street fan film. I don't know if you guys know about that. I don't know if I've talked about it much, but I would like to make a Nightmare fan film if I'm given the opportunity. If it's a possibility, I will definitely make a Nightmare fan film because um, I feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street should be actually a TV series, my opinion. Look how well the Chucky show turned out, the Scream show turned out, Bates Motel, you know, um, all these shows. I think Nightmare on Elm Street would work because Freddy has dialogue, he talks, and they even did a Nightmare on Elm Street show back in the 80s or 90s. So I feel like because he talks, he's a villain that talks and he has personality. um, that could work as a TV series, as like a 8 episode, thing, um, rather than an hour and 35-minute movie. Maybe they bring the series back as a show, and if the show does well, then they bring it to the big screen, and they make a big budget film. But I've always seen Nightmare on Elm Street as a story that can be a movie, it could be a book, or it could be a TV series. It's that complex of a narrative, of a plot, and because Halloween and Friday 13th, though are great, are very you know basic. I mean, I wouldn't say basic. It's just the slashers don't talk, and it's very Terminator like, and there's just like, you know when it comes to the main villains, there's not really much you can do. Like Michael Myers could never have his own TV show, and Jason couldn't have his own show either, But with Freddy, he's a character like Chucky, where you could actually do something like that, or with Scream, Ghostface. It's of course the villains that have dialogue, for drama. Um, yeah, just imagine if Netflix did a Nightmare series. What do they got to lose? Uh, or like a few season thing, and the first season is just a prequel with him being a human killer, and it ends with him being burned. And the second season, he's the Freddy we know. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we're learning that these franchises can translate well to television, and I've heard a lot of people say the Chucky show is better than the movies. So seeing how well the Chucky show has turned out, how well the Scream show turned out, I I have a lot more optimism that Nightmare could be a TV series. But I would love to see a Nightmare film that is done right. The only Nightmare movie I ever saw in the theater was the remake, and I don't want that to be my last memory of a Nightmare film on the big screen. Um, so hopefully we get a Nightmare film sooner than later, and I think we'll definitely get a Nightmare movie before a Friday film because the Nightmare series doesn't have a rights issue, like the Friday franchise. So we're definitely going to get a Nightmare movie before Friday 13th. Um, Friday 13th is going to be the last, next big like old horror nostalgic franchise that will make a return. So we probably won't get a Friday film till 2025 or till 2030. It could still be a long time. Um, Based on just the trailer for The Black Phone, I think Ethan Hawke could play a menacing Freddy. Of the torch needs to be passed. Yeah, that movie does look really good. The Black Phone, if you guys have seen that, the trailer, that looks really good. I'm definitely gonna go see that. That comes out in February. That looks great. Because that looks terrifying. And Ethan Hawke, I think he's gonna get like a nomination for this role. It looks like a Golden Globe. performance. Like, I've never seen Ethan Hawke like this. So, um, it could be possible because Ethan Hawke is a great actor, I never thought of that, Mario Mania. Thank you. And Zach, I never thought of that, Ethan Hawke. Um, that because they've been talking about Kevin Bacon, you know, as well. Um, but it's whoever can do the best acting job, of the character. But when you in that trailer, when Ethan Hawke is like, "Get off the phone," when he yells, that would that gave me so much chills, So, yeah, that is cool. If they, you know, of course, if Robert Englund can't do it. Um, so I know that this isn't a horror film or anything, but I saw a trailer that came out. I think it was a couple weeks ago. It's called House of Gucci. I'm gonna go see that on Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving weekend. Um, it just looks really, really good. I didn't think Lady Gaga could bring that kind of acting chops, and sh- it, this this looks like an Oscar-worthy performance, and it looks like a Best Picture nomination movie. Like, it's got a big cast. It's got great actors in that film. Like, it's such a great cast. Like, Adam Driver's in it, and and it looks really, really good. And Ridley Scott's directing it. Like, anything Ridley Scott does is great. Gladiator, Prometheus, Alien. Um, it goes on and on. It does look like, it's gonna be a great film. Yeah, it's a Ridley Scott movie, The House of Gucci. So I'm very intrigued because it's like it's Ridley Scott making a film that's very Scorsese-like, but it's not Scorsese. I am looking forward to, uh, how it's gonna be, and it looks intense, and it looks like it's gonna be very character uh, involving, and it doesn't look like it's gonna be boring. It definitely looks like there's a lot gonna be going on in the film, and yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be like a contender for Best Picture, and I think Gaga is gonna get a Best Picture nomination. I think Ridley Scott's gonna get Best Director nomination. Adam Driver will get nominated, or Jared Leto, and I definitely see, like, probably best screenplay nomination for this film, cinematography, costume design, makeup. I can see this being that kind of film, and I don't know. I get into dramas more the older I get. Watching drama films, I was never a big fan of dramas growing up, but now I like that genre a lot more. Um, I can't wait for the director's cut of The House of Gucci because with Ridley films, the director's cuts are usually much better than the theatrical versions. Yes, yes, the director's cut of the original Alien is better. And I own the director's cut of Ridley Scott's Alien because it's a better version of the movie. Not that the original version of Alien is bad, it's just the director's cut felt like had a lot more to it, and it felt like the pacing, like, it just had better pacing, or it was something about it just felt more Ridley Scott. Yeah. Um, but if Ridley Scott, since he's directing it, I'm gonna go see it. And who knows how many more movies he's gonna direct, and yeah. And I love that this isn't a Netflix thing. He's not doing a Scorsese, "Oh, I wanna put this on Netflix," kinda thing, because they make all these theme park movies. Uh, Ridley Scott is just making a film that is like, that kind of style, and it's like, "Yo, this is going to movie theater, and I know this is gonna make money." Like, Ridley Scott is I think he's doing a really great job with this. Um, so I'm looking forward to it. I think Kingdom of Heaven director's cut is probably the best film he's ever made. It's a really good one, Kingdom of Heaven. I always have a soft spot though for Alien. The original Alien movie. Just something about it. It's just such a classic to me. And that trailer that came out for the original Alien film, where in space no one can hear you scream. It's too iconic. And yeah, and that alarm sound effect in the trailer, which they repeated in that Prometheus trailer, and I remember when they played that "ah" sound effect in the Prometheus trailer, I was like, "Alright, I'm there day 1." Like, I went to see that by myself, when I was 16, and, I remember it June 8th, I remember it, and I was, like, right up there, right up front in the theater with my 3D glasses, and I'm like, "Oh my god." And seeing that Ridley Scott was, like, setting up a new Alien, like, trilogy, like, I was so excited. I'm like, "Oh my god, the next movie is gonna go into the X-Morphosis and all this stuff leading into the original movie," you know? So, he knows how to build tension in his films, and he knows how to put you at the edge of your seat and how to make you feel a certain way, and how to make you feel a certain way about the characters and the atmosphere. So, yeah, he's definitely one of the greatest directors, for sure. I don't really talk about Ridley Scott. I've always talked about like Wes Craven, John Carpenter, the mains, Toby Hooper, George Romero, you know, but yeah, or Quentin Tarantino. I mean, there's a lot of filmmakers that I have studied throughout time and how they make their movies and why they make their movies like that. Um, Sucks that Fox but butchered those plans. I really enjoyed Prometheus. Yeah, it really is because Covenant, like, I really, really like that movie, and I own it. I saw it in the theater, and I own it, and I don't know why people disliked it. I really don't. I thought it was awesome, and it went back to just being an alien movie. It reminded me of those old alien films. Um, and I don't know, because it was like Ridley Scott making an alien film that was big like Aliens. It wasn't as big as Aliens and not nowhere near as good as Aliens, but it was still a really solid flick, and I liked the ending and how that was setting up the 3rd film. And, I remember Ridley Scott was talking about doing CGI Ripley, that he wanted to bring Ripley back by digital work because he saw how Disney was doing all the CGI with Carrie Fisher and all that. He wanted to do the same for Ridley, Ripley's character. So, and I guess that didn't work out. I almost feel like they could have gotten a look-alike actor instead of doing CGI, and I think that's what Ridley Scott should have done because we're not there yet with CGI. You know, we're just not. And I think The Mandalorian proved that, especially. Here is example, Halloween Kills. When they try to mimic Donald Pleasance, they crushed it because they got 2 voice actors, and they did prosthetic makeup, and it was a look-alike actor. And everybody thinks that it's like, "Oh my god, I'm watching Donald Pleasance, I'm watching Dr. Loomis," because they didn't do digital work. Now, I wish they would do that more for other movies, that they would do prosthetic makeup, get a look-alike actor, and recast, um, because that looks better than CGI. You wanna be able to believe what you're watching instead of, "Oh, I'm watching someone whose their face is CGI'd," like, it takes you out of it, and, yeah. So, like, me as a filmmaker, like, I'd much rather do the recasting look-alike actor thing than CGI any day. Um, we're just not there yet with that kind of technology with digital faces. We're just not there yet. Deep fakes aren't that great yet. Um, I mean, they could have just used the Marvel prices and de-aged Sigourney because she still looks fantastic. Yeah, yeah, they could have figured something out, and even they could have given Ripley's character maybe she was a small character in the 3rd movie, and it was really just setting up maybe the ending of the 3rd film is, like, it's right before the beginning of the 1st movie, you know what I mean, kinda thing? Or they do they could have done something really cool like that, and it does feel like, there is something missing. There's that 3rd one, that 3rd Ridley Scott alien movie that he wasn't able to do that I really hope we get to see. Maybe Fox will change their mind and they'll say, "Yeah, let's do this over rebooting the franchise again," or something. Even though that I don't think the Alien franchise was ever really rebooted, but correct me if I'm wrong, but is the Alien versus Predator franchise reboots of both of those franchises, or are they still connected? Because they definitely felt like they stood on their own from the Predator films and the Alien films. Uh, it felt like the Predator movies were canon, but the Alien movies didn't feel canon in the Alien versus Predator movies. So, not sure if that was a different timeline. Oh, they're technically prequels. Okay, all right. Uh, and you guys ever think we're ever gonna get a good Terminator movie ever again, or you think that's it? You know, when were gonna they were coming out with that Terminator movie that was ignoring everything after the second one. I would have much rather James Cameron have wrote and directed that movie and made a really great film than to continue on with these Avatar movies. It's getting ridiculous, and he is just completely wasting his time with his career as a filmmaker. He could have made 5 masterpiece movies by this point. We all know it. He could have made the next Alien, the next Terminator. He could have done anything, and instead he gives us all these Avatar movies, and you guys can love those movies all you want. I just I they're his worst work, my opinion. Yeah. Aside from Piranha 2, it's better than Piranha 2, of course. And Avatar is probably the best 3D I've ever seen in a movie, so I'll give him that. Um, but he should have done an Avatar 2 after the first one, and that should have been that. It should have been only 2 films like Aliens or Terminator or T2, and he should have moved on and did other projects. That's what he should have done as a filmmaker. I don't think there will be because I don't even think James Cameron could have followed what he did with T2. I mean, he did end it perfectly, T2. It's one of the best endings to a movie. So it would be difficult, but it's still what James Cameron would do would be way better than all these sequels that we have gotten and prequels or whatever to these Terminator movies. It still would be better because it's James Cameron, you know. But yeah, T2. That's I agree. Mario Mania. Yeah, it's probably as good as it gets as it's gonna get. So it's probably a reason he didn't come back, but I know if as a filmmaker, if I saw one of my franchises that I created, and I did maybe 2 films, and then that series spawned, and they made this movie, and that movie, and that movie, and I saw all these different filmmakers just completely spit on what I did, I would come back, and I would do my own thing, and be like, "Yo," which is why Wes Craven is a forever legend because he went back to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise because he noticed how bad 4, 5, and 6 were, and he's like, "I'm coming back with New Nightmare, and I'm doing something really awesome and really scary," and he like, I love when a filmmaker, Wes Craven or Ridley Scott, they see these franchises are falling apart, and they're like, "Okay, now I'm gonna come back and do something. And if it doesn't work with the studio, it doesn't work out with the studio. They don't want to do anything after, okay. But the fact that they put in the effort and that they tried is really, really cool. That Ridley Scott did, in fact, direct 2 other Alien movies. Wes Craven directed another Nightmare film. John Carpenter will never direct another Halloween movie, which actually way back in 2011, I was like, you know what John Carpenter should do? He should come back to the franchise, write and direct his own direct sequel to the first movie, and he kills off Michael Myers, like with his writing. Like he literally ends the monster with his direction and his writing. I think I would have preferred that than this whole three movie outline that they're doing with Blumhouse. I think that would have been way cooler if it would have been a 2 hour John Carpenter, movie. He writes, directs, and composes it. And uh, we get the original mask and he does, all that. I just think that would have been really cool after all those years of all those sequels for John to come back. I think that would have been really, really cool. But I think he doesn't want to direct movies anymore. So I give him credit for scoring the new movies and being involved like that, and you definitely feel his involvement. But that it would have been really cool. What do you guys think about that, though? Do you think it would have been cooler if John Carpenter would have came back to the Halloween franchise and did like one movie, beginning, middle, and end? That was a direct sequel to the first movie, and it's kind of like what he would have really originally intended to do back, over the original Halloween 2. Or are you guys glad that Blumhouse is doing this outline? Because it certainly does not seem like you guys like this outline anymore with Halloween Kills. Everybody's talking bad about it. I have not really heard many good things about the movie except for uh small amount of people. So um I'm pretty sure people that did not like Halloween Kills would have preferred a John Carpenter directed Halloween film with loads of suspense, with that John Carpenter atmosphere, that cinematography, would have had a lot of that like that flashback opening in Halloween Kills. Imagine the whole movie looking like that. If John Carpenter would have directed his own Halloween film, um, it would have that look. I know it, but I guess it's too late. He's just doesn't want to direct anymore. So, but I do think David Gordon Green, um, is a really good director, and for him to go from like comedy comedy genre comedy genre to horror, uh, and it turned out that well is pretty remarkable. Because I guess it's the same thing with Todd Phillips with Joker. Todd Phillips did all the Hangover movies, did those comedies. Whoever thought that he could make a film like Joker, So I don't know what it is with these comedy directors that can make some really good um dark movies, Um Not really. He hasn't made a good movie since 1988, and as much as I don't like Halloween 2018, I think a Carpenter directed film would have been worse. Oh, okay. It would have been interesting to see, although his later filmography was pretty rough in my opinion. It could have gone either way. Yeah, you're right. Because then he did co-write Halloween 2, and a lot of people don't like the original Halloween 2 over the original Halloween. So I guess, he only had uh, the stomach for one movie, and that was, independent, low budget movie he made in '78 that he didn't think would ever become what it is now. But I just couldn't imagine as a filmmaker that created something like that, like for this long in my career. I mean, if I was John Carpenter, I probably would have came back for sure, at least one to two films, you know. Um, and he definitely should have done it back in the '80s, and he was gonna do Halloween 4, but then he sold his interest in the franchise. So, um, oh well, but it just something about like the original creator writing and directing it. It just or just directing it is just so cool because you're seeing their vision, and not someone else's vision that didn't come up with this franchise in the first place. you know. Yeah, I would love to do a Nightmare fan film. Yes, King V. I have considered making one. I just don't know when I would make it. All right, so now it's 8:30. I have been live streaming for almost 2 hours. I think this is a good stopping point. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, let me know. Any other movies? Um, any other films that are coming out? Any other video games, TV shows? Did you guys see the Chucky episode that came out on Tuesday? um, any discussion of anything, let's talk about it. Um, uh, yeah, I just want to make sure you guys, are able to uh, get out what you want to get out. Um, yes, I will keep the stream. I will. Um, but yeah, guys, definitely uh, comment on the. Sorry, comment comment on the top chat, the live. Sorry, not top chat, live chat. I always call it top chat, but it's live chat. All right, here we go. Did you see the Spider-Man pictures that are 99.9% most likely real? Yeah, I did. And they look amazing. And I'm really excited. And Andrew Garfield looks incredible as Spider-Man. I'm so excited to see him back as Spider-Man. He was always my favorite Spider-Man. Even though that he wasn't maybe given the best movies, like what I say, like the writing and Amazing Spider-Man 2 and a little bit of the first one he did wasn't the best. But I think he had the best love story out of all the actors that have played Spider-Man. I think Emma Stone is still the best love interest out of any of the Spider-Man movies. I think Gwen Stacy was a great character. I don't like Mary Jane's character because she just serves no purpose in the plot. Like like Gwen Stacy, Black Cat, they all they have a lot more to them. Um, and um, I'm excited to see where this is where they're going to do. Tom Holland said this movie is going to be really dark and depressing and like a bunch of things. Like wow, a Spider-Man film, is going to be you know like this is going to be really heavy or dark. Like it's interesting, but that sounds good though. I don't want it to be goofy and campy. I would love for this to be a serious film. Um, Toby is great. Peter Andrew is a great Spider-Man, and Tom is a nice balance. Yep, there you go. Yep, Tobey Maguire was a really great Peter Parker. Um, uh, and I guess I would say Tom Holland is a great Peter Parker too because he's a kid, like he feels like a real kid in high school, So, um, wish it wasn't only 6 episodes. Chucky, yeah. No, Chucky is not only 6 episodes; it's 8 episodes, and I think they've even talked about a possible season two. Don't know, but we could get a season two, depending. Don't know. Um, but yeah, it's going to go up to at least eight episodes. And because when I watched the episode the other night, it said 3 episodes left. So yeah, looking forward to the Spider-Man movie, guys. Spider-Man, that's like most anticipated. Uh, House of Gucci and Spider-Man: No Way Home are like what I'm really, really excited about. I just saw No Time to Die, which was really great. I loved it. It's definitely like one of the best Bond movies. It's not the best Bond film, but it's definitely one of the best Bond movies. It's just nice to go back to the theater to see um Escape Room 2, to see Black Widow, to see Halloween Kills, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, No Time to Die. It's like, it's like going back to the movie theater. It's just it's great. Um, who would have thought I'd go from hating Lexi's character to really liking her in just one episode? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what's so powerful about TV shows is you're given time to develop these characters. That's why I think Nightmare on Elm Street would be a great TV series because you could develop the characters a lot more and the psychological element of Freddy. And there's just something about TV that you can't do with movies. You can develop these characters a lot longer. With a movie, you can't develop these characters as much. Um, and which is why a lot of sequels are made, just to be able to develop the characters more. Um, so yeah, we'll see where TV, goes, but I think Scream and Chucky, definitely has changed a lot of how horror is on TV, and then Bates Motel. I just saw the new first episode of the new Dexter, New Blood. I just watched that, and that was really, really good. That was so good. Oh my god. I love the snow setting and the cold that instead of that Miami setting, it's like in this like middle of nowhere forest, area. Um, if you guys haven't watched the new Dexter show, I definitely recommend it. Dexter New Blood. It's really good. It's really good. Um, but anyway, that's my live stream. I will live stream again, probably next week, sometime next week. I'll be sure to post the day before that I'm going to be live streaming, and I'll probably live stream at this same time again. So thank you guys for tuning in on my live stream Thursday night on November 11th. Happy 1 year since Insane Cage of Madness Part 1. I got that movie out, guys, during that pandemic. I did it, and that was very hard to do. And I got that movie out. So um, it's something to celebrate. That was 1 year ago, starting tomorrow. So, you guys want to check out Insane Cage of Madness Part One? It's on my YouTube channel. It's been on my channel for about a year, so feel free to check it out. Um, I got to get around to watching that. I love the first four seasons of Dexter. Yeah, really, I only recommend to watch the first four seasons of Dexter. Those that's the best of Dexter. And then I almost would say skip to the new show because the later seasons kind of got, but it's up to you though, like, if you wanna know more of, like, what happened and stuff. I would same with Shameless. I only watched the first 4 seasons, first 5 seasons of that show, because I think Shameless should have been 6 seasons, and that should have been it. Um, uh, there's sometimes a show goes on way too long, which is why the Dufo Brothers that make the Stranger Things show, brilliant, because they said we're going to make 4 seasons and that's it because we're not going to drag this out like a lot of shows, and that's how you do it. I think a solid 4 seasons of a show, live action, maybe not animation but live action, is very smart, you know because I've noticed when a show goes on for way too many seasons, it's repetitive and overplayed and you're just tired of it, like it's like I haven't even seen the other 4, 5, 6 seasons yet. I'm 6, 7, 8 seasons behind. So yes, King V. I am doing cover arts for my next two short films. There will be images, announcement, release dates and all that soon. I just have to get that kind of footage for it, images. But guys, the movies are looking good. Filming is going to start sometime this month, and it's going to go on till January, February, and I'm excited. I'm excited. Casting is going. Crew, we're getting crew members. We're just, oh my god, I'm making new movies for you guys. Yay! I'm revisiting the slasher genre. So, you guys have a great Thursday night, and I will talk to you all very soon. All right, peace.